boom, boom. And guess what's happening? World War II. And here's another thing I want to add. When the seals are open, like I said, it happens during a long period of time. But when the trumpets are sounded, it happens very quick. Just recognize this time period of the seals. This happened in 1500 year period. This is 1,500 years. This is only 100 years. The first four trumpets, and we're in the fifth and sixth trumpet right now. It's only 100 years. This is 1500 years. So it is true, when the trumpet sounds, it happens in succession very, very quickly. And the trumpets is a long duration, okay? So I'm not going to read to you the first, second, and third, fourth trumpet, but if you read it, it's talking about the sea and talking about the air, talking about this. And World War II is known for our fighting in the air. It's an air battle and a sea battle. There's a lot of sea battles and air battles. And I said, if you put it into the category of the sequence here, it's World War II. Okay, the first four trumpets is World War II, because the fifth trumpet is completely different. And I call this the Babylonian era, folks. When the Dark Ages finished, it became the Babylonian system. And you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say about that. That leads us to chapter 9. Okay, we have been living in the Babylonian system way back since the 1800s, since the Middle Ages. I don't know where you want to put that date. I'm putting it around when the French Revolution started, when Napoleon kicked the Pope out of the Vatican, or he took the throne. He basically dethroned the Pope, and that ended the Pope's authority over the kings. So, and that's when the Babylonian system began. That's where I put that date. Okay, I didn't put it here, but we went from the Dark Ages to the Babylonian system, and then right after the Babylonian system is the New World Order. But people call New World Order is coming. It's the beast system, folks. The Babylonian system right now is being replaced by the beast system. But anyways, so we go to the fifth trumpet, and I made a video on this. If you guys are welcome to check it out. You don't have to, but I'm not going to talk about it. The fifth trumpet is basically the locust that has a king Abaddon over them, the star that fell from the heaven. I talk about this in detail, and it's not very popular. I think it's the United States. The locust army is the United States, and King Abaddon is the nuclear bomb. Okay, and that's the period we just left. I call the fifth trumpet the nuclear era, which is right after World War II. So World War II, World War I, World War II, and then the fifth trumpet is post World War II, which is the period that my parents' generation was living in. Okay, now we are waiting for the sixth trumpet. So my parents and my generation, my parents' generation, my generation is going to see the day of the Lord, folks. That's how close we are. Okay, this is very exciting times. But I'm going to read to you what chapter 6 is. Sixth trumpet is, if you guys don't know what it is, if you're not familiar with it. But it's a very terrible event. As exciting as the time progresses, it gets closer to Jesus. As exciting that is, we're gonna go through the most terrible, horrible, horrific period of our lives in the next 18 to 48 months. Don't believe people. Don't believe our president that he's going to make America great again. It's over, folks. Okay. The rioting that's going through right now, I don't know if you guys, if you guys get it or not, but I get it. No matter what happens, the left, the socialists, whatever, the Marxists nowadays. America has always been partial socialist, but these guys are no longer socialists. These are Marxists, okay? The left is willing to take the country down just to take the president down, okay? It's kind of like not an inside coup. They tried the impeachment, it did not work. And they cannot go directly attack him, because if they fail, they'll all be hanged. You see what I'm saying? They cannot do an exact military coup against Trump, because if Trump has a military more powerful than the left, and they lose, Trump gets to hang every one of them for treason. So that's not the way they fight. So how do they fight? They sponsor all these riots. The same thing, it's a playbook that our CIA, our intelligence have been doing overseas, okay? They sponsor the local people to try to overthrow their own government. So this way nobody gets hanged. Nobody gets hanged for treason, people. You notice that nobody gets hanged for treason. This is why the riots are happening, because they don't want to do a military coup against Trump, because it'll be military against military, and whoever the winning side is, they're going to hang the losing side. So the left does not want to hang. They want to use the people. Somebody's sponsoring these people to do these riots to overthrow Trump. Okay, so in case you guys don't get it, that's what's happening. Well, it doesn't matter what happens in November. They're not going to accept Trump. Trump to them is a Kennedy. Okay, they don't want the Kennedy family in government, especially maybe not government. Maybe they'll let him in the Senate office, but just look what happened to the Kennedys. Ever since President Kennedy was assassinated. Well, Trump is the Kennedy to these left Marxists, man. They don't like the way he governs. Okay? That's in case you people don't get it. I'm not a MAGA fan, I'm not a Trump fan, but I'm not a lefty either, okay? I'm just independent. I'm just making a video here telling you what's going on that I think is going on. That when it comes to November, we're going to see chaos. You think it's chaos now, but it's going to get very bad because it's going to lead to chapter 9, folks. I'm going to read to you what happens in chapter 9. If you don't know. The fifth angel sounded his trumpets, and that's the first part. I'm going to read to you the part, the sixth trumpet. The first woe is past. That is Jesus calls the fifth trumpet the first woe, which is the atomic era, when the atomic bomb was released and discovered. Because destruction. Yeah, King Abaddon is the destroyer. The destroyer is the fifth trumpet. The first woe is past. 2 other woes are yet to come. Okay, he's saying woe, W-O-E. Okay. The sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the 4 horns of the golden altar that is before God. He said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. You hear that? A third of mankind is going to die. And I'm going to continue to read. It tells us how a third of the mankind is going to die. Chapter 9, 6, which is what's coming next. A third is going to die. Third of the population. The number of the mounted troops, they're telling us there's troops here, was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard their number. Now, a lot of people believe this is China because they actually translate this to 200 million. I just want to let you know, folks, it's not really 200 million. The actual quote is twice 10,000 times 10,000. Now, if I was interviewing people on the riots today, and you were to ask me how many people do you see here in the riot or the protesting, I would look and I'd say a few thousand. What does that few thousand mean? It means I can't count it. It's too much. Well, that's all John is saying. Twice 10,000 times 10,000. He did not say 200 million, folks. Okay, but nevertheless, I believe also that this army is China. Okay. The horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. Their breastplates were fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur. It's talking about war machines, folks. Once again, these are the chemicals that today's warfare brings. The chemical warfare that's in the missiles and artilleries and bombs. That's what it's talking about. So now we know that there's troops involved, so it's a military battle going on. So this is talking about World War III. Okay. A third of mankind was killed by these 3 plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur. A third of mankind was killed by the war machines. Third of mankind, we're going to have a nuclear war, folks. I don't know. How do you kill 2 billion people? How do you kill 2 billion people in the country? I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be, he doesn't say, he just says, sulfur, smoke, and fire, and brimstone. So whatever it's the weapons that's being used in war. So we know now that the sixth trumpet is this terrible war. I call it World War III. Okay? And I'm going to add more stuff to it from the other videos I made, in which I believe Prophet Dimitri Duduman, he claims that we're going to war with China. Prophet Dimitri Duduman claims America is Mystery Babylon. And he identifies the second beast. He identifies the first beast. He identifies the Middle East, Russia as Gog, and China all involved in the beast system, and that they're all going to align to destroy America. That's what Prophet Dimitri says, and it lines up with the Bible prophecy. He doesn't give you the names of the countries, okay? But basically, the first beast, which is in the book of Revelation, is the 10-nation beast, and the second beast is the beast with the two horns, okay? And there's Babylon, and the book of Revelation tells you that both beasts will destroy Babylon, okay? So he gives us who these characters are. He claims that Gog is Russia, the Middle East, and China are all part of the beast system, and they're going to destroy America, which is Babylon. And I believe this is chapter 9. I hate to say it, but folks, it's not trying to break anybody's heart. You probably don't believe me anyway. You don't have to. This is my thought. You don't have to agree with me. But chapter 6 is the destruction of Babylon. This is a World War III, folks, that we're living under the Babylonian system. America is the head of the Babylonian system. The entire Western society, Western half of the world, is the Babylonian system, okay? But the head of it is America. America is the mother of all the harlots. That's why it's called mother of all the harlots, because the whole West is a harlot. But the mother of all harlots is the United States of America. It is the mystery Babylon. We are living in the Babylonian system that rides on the back of the beast. Okay, and what that means is Babylon reigns over the kings of the whole earth, and because we reign over the kings of the whole earth, the beast kingdom cannot rise. Well, in the book of Revelation, God says He's going to raise up the beast system to end Babylon's reign, and He's going to have the beast system destroy Babylon. You have to read it. It's in chapter 13, 17, and 18 of the book of Revelation. He unifies the beast system to destroy and end the Babylonian system. And the head of the Babylonian system is Mystery Babylon. And Prophet Dimitri identifies it as America, the United States of America. And I believe that's what's happening next in our world, in my generation. And I believe even my parents' generation, we're that close. My generation and my parents' generation is going to see this day of the Lord, that we are months ahead. So everyone, please start paying attention. Don't even worry about your college degree. Don't even worry about what you're going to do after college. Prep up your spirit. Get close to the Lord. You need to pray a lot more, because it's not coming back to normal. Okay? It's not coming back. No matter what Trump says, no matter what he says, the left is not going to make him successful. I hope you guys get that by now, that there's something seriously wrong with America. It's declining. The East is increasing and the West is declining. And that's part of the prophecy. That chapter 9 is World War III. It's a war between the East and the West. It includes the Middle East, of course. The Middle East and the beast system is communism and Islam. That's what's going to rise to power. That's going to defeat America in this coming war, folks. And it's already happening. Prophet Dimitri already prophesied the war with the Middle East, and it's already happened. We've been at war with the Middle East for like 40 years. So that prophecy has been fulfilled. And it's my opinion, it's my take, that because Gog and Russia and China are involved in the beast system, that it's going to be a combination of Islam and communism. And it makes sense, folks, because when the Babylonian system is finished, that's the Western society. It's called Babylon because it was once married to Christ. Okay, it carries the cross. It carries the church. The church is in the Babylonian system. But when chapter 9 war emerges very soon, it's coming next. It's going to die. It's going to be illegal to be carrying these books are going to be burned, folks, in the future, in the near future. The church will be closed down. The church, everybody, if you mention the word Jesus in Islam and communism, this is why the Bible says they're going to behead you. It's going to get that bad because you cannot claim to be a Christian. They're going to cut your head off. Okay, you have to go underground. Everybody's going to be tested like Peter. Okay, if you deny Christ, you're going to be tested like Peter. After chapter 9, every Christian is going to be tested like Peter. Okay, you're either going to choose death or you go into hiding. You have to go underground with your church. And once again, well, not once again. And if you continue on to chapter 11, if you know what chapter 11 is, it's the last two prophets that God sends on the earth, the two lampstands, the two candlesticks. I'm not going to talk about who they are. Some say it's Moses, Elijah, John the Baptist. Whoever it is, it's two prophets. And if you read the very end of that chapter, they are killed. They're killed in the streets and nobody helps them out. Why? How come nobody's burying their body? If I know is if they came to Jerusalem tomorrow, I would be there my first flight. If the airport was open, I'd be in Jerusalem tomorrow. I'd be following these two prophets, this man of God. I would be doing that. So if they died on the street and nobody's helping them, where are we? Where is the church? Very good question. But that's where some people think we've already raptured. I don't think so, because that's still chapter 11. I believe we're just underground, okay? Because I believe the rapture happens in the day of the Lord, folks. We come back with 144,000. So we go through this whole tribulation. We go through the great tribulation. This is a great tribulation period. This is the tribulation period, and the war in chapter 9 is the great tribulation. I'm going to read to you chapter 12, the book of Daniel. At that time, right here, folks, this is what's coming. The Great Tribulation is what's coming next, this World War III. And it's a great tribulation for Christians because we are going to be tested, kind of like Peter. The church is going to go underground. The church is all going to be closed, burned. Bibles are going to disappear. And communism, Islam put together is going to make it illegal to be a Christian. Okay? And this is Daniel chapter 12, the end result of chapter 9, when America is defeated and destroyed. And also the West, the European Empire, not Italian Empire, they're not going to be destroyed, but they will be defeated by Russia. Russia, China, and the Middle East is going to own the whole world, folks. That is the beast system. And America is Babylon, is going to be subdued and destroyed. If you read the destruction of Babylon, I'm not going to read it to you, you can read it, okay? It's in Revelation chapter 17, 18, I believe, maybe 13, 17, 18 talks about this whole thing. I'm not going to talk about it, but America is not going to be around. We're not going to survive. But Europe is going to survive. It's not going to be destroyed because they're after Babylon. The 10 nations, the 10 beast system is after the United States, not Europe. But they are going to go to, it's going to be a World War III. It's going to be a war between the East and the West. But the East is not going to put up much of a fight against Russia. They're no match for Russia. It's America that's the problem. Okay? So, but that's what they're all going to gang up on America. And it's not going to take that much to take Europe between Russia and Europe. It's not going to be much of a battle. Okay? But this is happening right here, Daniel chapter 12. At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. This is going to be the most terrible time a human being will ever go through since the beginning of time ever. What we're going to go through is going to be the worst any human being will ever have to go through according to this verse, people. That's how horrible chapter 9 is, what's coming next. You think coronavirus is terrible. This is the beginning stages. These riots, according to Prophet Dimitri, is going to turn into a revolution. And during the revolution, we're going to go to war with China. So we are months away from going to war with China. And then it doesn't say, there's no indication how long the war is. 18 months, 6 months, 3 years with China. And then the other nations will help eventually. And actually, in the United States, according to the prophecy, the United States is actually winning the war until Russia joins. So in order for Russia to join, I bet Russia my guess is they're at war with Europe. Okay, because this is a combined effort from the beast system. This is a combined effort from Russia, the Middle East, and China. So while China and the other countries are at war with us, what is Russia doing? Russia is probably fighting Europe. But according to the prophecy from Dmitri, the complete end and destruction of Babylon is when Russia jumps in and helps China, and then we are destroyed. Okay. Um, there will be a time of distress such as not happened from the beginning of nations until then. But at that time, their people, everyone whose name is found written in the book, will be delivered. Well, guess what? Even though the church is defeated, the Babylonian system is defeated and replaced by the beast system. This is talking about us. Some of us are going to be delivered, folks. See, this is why we're not raptured. We're not raptured. Even though the next thing that happens is chapter 11, skip chapter 10. The next thing that happens is chapter 11. The two prophets show up and the church is not there. But chapter 12 tells us that the church is delivered. So where are we? We're not raptured, but we're delivered. We're underground, folks. We are part of that Revelation chapter 12 with the man-child before the dragon that devours the man-child. Some of us will be delivered and taken to that wilderness. Okay? So wherever that is, we're protected. Will be delivered. Multitudes who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. Those who are wise will shine like the brightness of the heavens, and who had led many righteous like the stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel, but you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge. That's a very popular Daniel prophecy. Yeah, he's told to put the book away, just write it down. Don't contemplate on it. Don't ponder on it. It's not for you. You're not going to understand it. It's for us. It's for us during this period, folks. So Daniel chapter 12 is talking about the period of great tribulation, which is the fifth and sixth trumpet. Okay, the seventh trumpet is when the two it's also part it's when the beast is ruling. The beast system is ruling. It only rules for a short time. It only rules for 42 months. The beast system. And who is the beast system? It's a 10-nation kingdom. It's going to consist of the Middle East, Russia, and China. Okay, and there's some more countries that it involved because actually Prophet Dimitri mentions Latin countries, Hispanic countries involved in this involvement with the United States war. So I encourage you to watch my other video because I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm trying to make this a quick video. I don't know where I'm at, 45 minutes. But I talked about this really quick because this is where we are. This is the most important part, folks. What's going to happen from here? People were asking what's going to happen this summer. Everybody found out. The riots increased. Look what happened to Portland. Look what happened to Portland. It's basically almost taken over, folks. Okay? Yes, the National Guard's not involved, but they're fighting. They're fighting. They want to take the city. The Marxist is taking over Portland. They want to take over Portland. And once they take over a major city, obviously they would have to. Some of the mayors or whatever, some of the state legislatures will be overthrown. I don't know how it's going to happen, folks. But cities are going to fall. We're at a moment in this period where cities are going to fall across America. Fall to who? Fall to the Marxists. Okay, it's part of the prophecy of Dmitri that we're going to have a revolutionary war. And during the revolutionary war, which is already brewing up right now, we're going to war with China. And that's it, folks. That is chapter 9, the sixth trumpet. This is the video that I wanted to make that, everybody just said, don't focus on your future about your secular life anymore. It's not coming back, folks. Okay? We're lucky to have a roof under our head and maybe a job and some money, extra money to pay to buy things that we need. But there's no more. There is no more. I plan for a 10-year future. I'm gonna plan to have this career and send my kids to this college. There's no more of that, folks. It's over. Yeah, and believe me, it's hard for me to convince people I know and family members. So I'm not expecting to convince anybody who's watching this video. But I welcome you to think on your own. And if you want to debate me in the comments section, I'll be more than I'll respond to it, and answer it the best I can, the best of my knowledge. But this is thinking outside of the box, and if I'm correct, folks, like I said, we are in chapter 9, and we're going to go through the worst tribulation in human history in the next 6 months to 48 months here. Why do I say 6 months to 48 months? Because Prophet Dimitri prophesied the destruction of Babylon 36 years ago. And if everybody knows the number 40 in biblical numerology, it is the number of judgment. After 40 years, God will commence his judgment. So according to that number, we might have about 4 years left, since God sent a real prophet 36 months ago to warn us what's going to happen. Even though it was given to John and Matthew, it was given to Jeremiah. There's other verses. It's also in the book of Isaiah and the book of Jeremiah. Even though it was given to them, obviously 2,500 years ago, he's the real prophet that God sent, kind of like a Jonah. If you read the book of Jonah, God sends Jonah to Nineveh, I think, and then 40 years later, I think something to do with 4 years. I think 40 years later, I think maybe I think it was 40, maybe it was 100, but he sends Jonah during the present time, just before he judges them. He goes, if you don't repent, I'm going. Well, that's what happened with Prophet Dimitri Duduman, 36 years ago. He's kind of like the Jonah that was sent to Nineveh, and I call Prophet Dimitri Duduman the modern day Jeremiah. But yeah, he's kind of like a Jonah. He came to tell us who we are. He told America that we are Babylon. We must repent. It was a shock to everybody. Nobody wants to believe it. He's the first real prophet that actually came out. And you got to watch his videos. I have his books. I said I made videos about him, and that was 36 years ago. Okay, so if 40 years is correct, I don't know if that's true, but if that is correct, we have 4 years left for this. Trump could be the last president, or this could be the last election. I don't know. I'm not saying that. All I know is that the signs are showing that we are very close. We are months away. As exciting as things are for the coming of Jesus and the day of the Lord, what we have to go through this tribulation period, and then obviously after the great tribulation period, that includes the beast system, because the church will have to go underground, or else you're going to be tested like Peter, and most likely we're going to be one of those people who's going to be beheaded if you don't take the mark of the beast, obviously. Or same thing, if you claim to be a Christian, they're probably going to kill you anyways. That's coming, folks. Okay, for at least for the Christians out there, for the people who don't believe in God, you're gonna live in the system. You're gonna live like you're living happy right now in the Babylonian system. You're gonna live happy in the beast system. Okay, because you're not gonna try to live up to God's expectation and Jesus' expectation like Christians are trying to do. Okay, so you're not gonna worry, but for the Christians, you should worry, because you shouldn't be trying to live up to the beast system that's coming, because they're going to ask you to deny Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Hopefully, I get at least one soul out of this, and then that would be worth it. If not, then hey, I just wanted to share my views. Okay, so talk to you guys later.